Hello there. Welcome to lecture 2 on functions and program structure. We actually looked at all of this in verbose in our lecture 1. Let us now start with our own way of understanding a function. For example, let me have a function called void display. Now before I start declaring a function, the syntax of a function typically is 1 return type, name of the function, or I could say function name, and then in the bracket 0 or more parameters. Next, a function prototype is nothing but its skeleton syntax. A function prototype should be declared before using it. This is just a recommendation, it is not mandatory of course, but it's nice to have a function prototype declared before using it. Okay, so let us look at, we will create one function wherein we will have here again let me clarify it. The return type if not specified, it will be taken as int by default. If a return type does not return anything, it returns void, something called void. Okay, functions returning void are termed as methods or non-value returning functions. Okay, so if I now I'll define a prototype of function. I would like to have a function. The name of the function will be f1, open bracket, close bracket. Okay, so here in this case, since I have not given any parameters, this does not convert into int, it is nothing but I can as well say void. So I will have a print statement. The f1 function is called. Okay, so this is my first function. So what I'll do is, to make it easy for the prototype, I will copy this and just make this as a prototype. That's what. Then I'll take one more function. This I'll call it as f2. This returns an int but does not accept any parameters. I will just have a statement here. Okay, and now I'll say f2. Alright, so as usual I will make this as f2. No two functions can have same name in the same scope. Say control C, I'll do the control V. Okay, so we have something like this. Then let us look at f3. Now I will have a function called f3 which will return a value and also accept a parameter. In this case, let me accept it as one parameter. This is my f3. Okay, the value passed is the value passed to f3 function is %d, which is nothing but my x, whatever value that I am passing. So to create a prototype, I will copy this and put a prototype here. Okay, when I say int x, I can as well say int. I need not have to say x. I can as well say just int. That's also fine, or also say int x. It does not matter. Okay, so this is what is our program now. So we have three functions: f1, which is not written anything, not accept anything, but doing something. So this becomes our method or non-value returning. So this is our function, which is value returning function. This is also value returning function. The next one, of course, it accepts a parameter. All right. So now, how do I call the function? So let main be the caller. Before that, now I will let us compile this and see if there are any errors that it exhibits to us. So let us look at this output now. So I did the GCC. In the output, there is nothing here. The function doesn't get invoked on its own just because you have defined or declared the function. The function has to be called. So let me first call f1. It is not returning anything, so I'll simply say f1, which is nothing but, now in this case the main is the caller and my f1 is the callee. All right. So did we save this code? Okay, save the code. We are given here output. Okay, so it has to be output put. So we get f1 is called. Okay, so the function gets called. Let us call the second function. Now before that, suppose if I do something like this, I just have say 10 like this. Is it a syntax error if I just say 10? Is it semantically correct? It is semantically correct, syntactically correct. Semantically it may not make any sense, so it is still fine. Means it is as good as you saying in English, I just have a English statement like the and then dot. Okay, so it's still fine. Okay, so similarly when I now call a function f2, now here f2 is not returning any value. By default it may return 0, so I will specify a return value. I'll say return, if f2 is called, I'll say return 100. Okay, now when I do that, when the function gets called, I am actually returning 100 here. It is equivalent to something like this. So does it have any impact on the execution? No. Okay, so it need not be always on the R value, it can just be itself. Okay, so but that's not good practice. So if I now do this, so I have function f2 gets called. Now if I take f3 for example, now in this case f3 is similar to my f2 call, but in this case I will pass a parameter called 1415. Not that I like that number, just a random number. So when we do this, and again when I run the code, I get function f3 is called, the value passed to function f3 is 1415. means we are able to communicate to F1. Now can F1 call F2, F2 call F3, can F3 call again F1? The function may look at the function calls may result in circular calls which has to be resolved by the programmer. For example, recursion is a circular call which has to be resolved by the programmer. You just can't call what is circularly without returning, so that it goes in an infinite loop. Okay, so this is the this is how we were able to call the function. So since we have called this F2 like this, now can I just say what is the value? Is it returning any value? So for that, what I'll say, printf the value returned by F2 is %d. So here I'll call it as just F2. So it is in my printf statement. So it is as good as me printing. If it is returning, I don't know what is returning here, it is returning 100. So it is as good as me saying the %d 100 in our earlier printf statement. So let me save this and then do the compilation. Okay, so you see the value returned by the function F2 is 100. Correct. So this is what is a typical structure, okay, of a function call. Rest in coming lectures. Hope you understood. Thank you very much.